Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks MLB update. How's everybody doing today? It's Friday. It's March 15th, St. Patrick's Day this weekend. If it's something you enjoy, please party responsibly. Hope everybody's having a good weekend, or hope it has a good weekend. The weekend has really kicked off. I guess we're kicking it off right now, if you will. Still working a little bit myself. Want to welcome everybody watching today on TGI Sports Talks Facebook and YouTube and Twitter feeds. Anybody watching live on Northeast Streaming Sports Roku app or Facebook or YouTube there. That Northeast Streaming Roku app, get it downloaded, guys. It's free. Go to the Roku channel. No, I guess it's an app. Go to the Roku app. You download the NS Northeast Streaming Sports app. Download it. And you can do that for free. Lots of great content there. And Let's Talk Sports. You're watching us on their YouTube stream today as well. And a ton of great content there as well. Shout out to all of those guys. Shout out to Ralph Williams from RW Media, specifically the Sports Corner that he does with Smoking Jim Frazier every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on WBVP, 1230 a.m., 99.3 FM. And a quick shout out to Bottom Line Sports and to the sports authorities, two of the groups that really, really support us. We'll talk some baseball today. Lots of baseball to talk about. We got a big trade with the Red Sox. My God, the White Sox and the Padres. Dylan Cease. We would like to maybe see them in pinstripes at some point this year. Probably won't happen. We'll look at what the Padres look like after this trade. And more bad news in Yankee land. Aaron Judge won't be ready for the regular opening of the regular season, and Garrett Cole will miss at least 2 months. He's going to have He's going to have Tommy John surgery. You heard it here first. He's not going to pitch this season. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I've seen this movie too many times. I know what the papers are saying. I know what the websites are saying. You heard it here first. Maybe he comes back and pitches a game or two or something, but you heard it here first. Garrett Cole will have Tommy John surgery. And believe me, if this is the case, they should be doing it now. Because if you do it in June or July, you're going to miss next season too, probably. Bad news everywhere. Good afternoon, Dave Guyette up there in Amsterdam, New York. Good to have you with us. One of our local followers. Love to have Dave with us. A big Yankee fan, I know. Dave, I'm sure, unhappy about the Cole news mostly and the Judge news secondarily, which doesn't seem quite as bad when you look at it in context, I guess. Long season for the Yankees. Dave, excuse me. Before I get into anything else today, and we're going to circle back around to this probably again, but I wasn't terribly excited to begin with about the Yankees season because I haven't been really enamored with the offseason moves. I said they left themselves thin at pitcher. We don't have an opening day starter. How? Well, I understand the pitchers are a delicate thing these days, right? And we can't do anything to upset their schedule. But how does Marcus Stroman say, no, thank you? Are you kidding me? This is what we've evolved to. So, Dave, I wasn't excited about the Yankee season beforehand. Again, it will be a good team. Will they be over 500? Sure. Might they make the playoffs? Maybe, if everything breaks right. And I said the pitching was shorthanded. Everybody was talking about the starting pitching, how great it was. Well, Cole's gone. You heard it here first. This won't be 2 months. This will be the season. And care what you read. I've seen this movie before. So I'm not really optimistic right now. Dave will talk more about that as we go along. Welcome to Chris F. Grave. Good to have you with us this afternoon. Yeah, what to do with Rondon? Rondon's, I know what to do with Rondon. Ship him back to San Francisco where he was. Another guy. Again, this is in hindsight, guys. Anybody who watched me preseason last year, whether it was on this show or my many other shows, the preseason MLB preview show, which, by the way, we'll be doing, Drew Ehrlich and I will be doing on July 26th at 7 p.m. live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. The TGI Sports Talk feeds and also Northeast Streaming Sports. We'll let you know about Roku. It'll probably get replayed on Roku, but we'll do it live. We'll try to take your comments, so it could be a long show. But I said on any of these shows, Rendon was a bad signing. Blake Snell would be a bad signing, even with the Yankees' woes right now, with maybe Cole out for the year, at least 2, probably 3 months. And I'm saying again, if he needs rotator cuff surgery, they should be doing it now, because you do it in June, July, next year's gone too. In the noggin, he needs to cool and get his control, but Carlos is an extreme alpha male dude. He's not a good fit for New York City. In my mind, I said this before. Plus, he's injury prone. He's not had a good spring. And again, I've got to discount that, I suppose. If I'm going to consistently, as I want to do, discount good performances and say it's only spring training, I have to discount bad performances too, I guess. But Rendon has shown me nothing to think he's going to turn this around. Last year was a disaster. I predicted it. I got in arguments in Reiki groups. Why? Here's my opinion. 2 good years out of about 6 or 7. Didn't pitch well in Chicago, a much more intense media center than San Francisco or New York. Or I should say Newark is more like Chicago than San Francisco, of course. No more intense place to play than here. So, and Marcus Stroman has shown me everything I need to know about Marcus Stroman when he says, thanks for the offer to be the opening day pitcher. I don't really need all that hoopla. It's not hoopla. We need you. I'd rather stay on my schedule, When did pitchers become, never mind, this is rhetorical. Babies. Oh my God. Wilbur Wood pitched both ends of a doubleheader one time. You think that was on his schedule? Not believing the news on call? No, I'm not, Drew. I've seen this, and welcome, Drew, to the show. Good to have you with us today. As I said, Drew and I will do the preview show on the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, which I'll keep promoting on the shows, and you'll see it posted. I've seen this before, and again, one of the guys that I got into a heated discussion with about Rendon last year. I've been in a heated discussion with Snell since about February. Some guys just believe everything they read, and he's convinced Cole will be fine. Cole's going to come back, sit out 2 months, and come back and be the Cole of the future. Guess what's not happening? That. I've seen this all the time come out of the Yankees, particularly, and professional sports organizations. Maybe he comes back and tries to start, but I'd be shocked if I saw him at all this year. I'd be shocked. Dave Guyette, whose cousin is Ian Anderson, the former phenom with the Braves, had Tommy John surgery, as Dave is mentioning here. He's expected back around the All-Star game. By the way, he had, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Dave, he had Tommy John surgery last February. So February of 23, he had rotator cuff, Tommy John surgery. And he's expected back around the All-Star break, which is late June. Well, mid-July, sorry. Mid-July. If the surgery is needed, it should be done now. If he needs a surgery this summer, you can write off all of 2025. Bad news. Well, I know. As soon as I said, I knew you'd call me out on that, Drew. But still, whatever. My point is, well, how many times would guys come back and pitch on 2 day in World Series? Playoffs, come back and pitch on 2 days rest, 1 day's rest. What did Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson specifically, do to the Yankees in 2001? There's one example. I think Koufax came back and pitched on 2 days rest in the World Series and against the Twins maybe in 64. You think that was on their schedule? God, this is one of the reasons I don't want to bring in guys like Marcus Stroman. I wasn't a fan of him. I said this beforehand. He's a prima donna. He's got some talent, but he's nothing more than an innings eater to me. This staff is in serious trouble. If Clark Schmidt, who I think could be the ace of the staff with Cole out, so if he doesn't step up or Nestor doesn't come back and be the Nestor we saw 2 years ago, it's going to be a long year, guys. Judge is already hurt. But let's do this. Let's bring in a lot of physics guys from MIT to figure out, what's wrong with the clubhouse and blah, blah, blah. And launch angles and figure out all this stuff. Why don't we get some trainers in here who can get guys ready to play baseball? Not lift weights like crazy, but maybe get in baseball shape. I don't know. It's a crazy idea, I know, but maybe we just look to do that, right? I mean, God. Wilbur's probably not a good example, but he did pitch both ends of a doubleheader. Knuckleballer in that. Chris says Stroman comes to any city with his own bag of lollipops. He is this guy. I just don't get it. And Chris saw him pitch up in Toronto before he went to the Cubs. Chris is he's our Canadian correspondent, I've been calling him. I don't know how your manager comes to you and says, we'd like you to pitch the first game of the season, which, by the way, is quite an honor. And he said, he did say, it's quite an honor, but I don't want all the, pomp and circumstance. I'm paraphrasing. I'd rather stick to my schedule and pitch the third game because that's what I'm working towards. God, dude, we need you. How's Aaron Boone not say, I'm sorry about your schedule, but you're pitching game one? This is what I hate about Aaron Boone. This is going to become an anti-Yankee from the Yankee fan, by the way. Right? I mean, good grief. This is what I hate about Aaron Boone. Oh, okay, Marcus, you pitch game 3. Let us know when you bought a pitch after that. Not Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull. And Drew's on top of it today. Good call. Ian Anderson, and I know you know who he is. Ian Anderson had a really good debut with the Braves when he came up late. I want to say the season before they won the World Series, if I'm not mistaken, Dave, and Drew, you might even remember. He came up late in that season, pitched really well, pitched well in the year before last, but had some arm troubles and some struggles where he was out of the rotation here and there. And then it was determined that he needed the Tommy John surgery, which a lot of guys get today. It's not a death sentence, but it is a long recuperating process. And I hope Ian Anderson comes back as strong as ever. I may be hoping he gets traded to the Yankees before the All-Star break, but that's probably not going to happen. By the way, Tommy Kahnle has also been hurt in training camp. We knew that was going to happen. Another local product here, the Capital District, Shaker High School. When's he not hurt? Gosh. Chris. I'm excited for the second coming of Miguel Sano, who was invited by the Angels. He lost 60 pounds. He's another guy, right? Look, he had some talent. He also had, if I'm not mistaken, some legal issues, right? I want to check him out for a second because, again, this isn't the show for it, but, don't let the air out of footballs. But you can do whatever else you want. Where did he get in trouble? Now, he was a nice player for a couple of years. I know he was an all-star 2017. Let me look at where is my baseball reference? There we go. But I also want to see about his legal issues. That shows you where the Angels are scraping the bottom of the barrel. He hasn't had a good season since, 2021. He hit 30 home runs, but he hit about 220. Before that, 1335. He was a really good player in 2017, 2016. Good. He never hit more than 264, 199. Again, this is really where the Angels are scraping the bottom of the barrel. Plus, I don't want to malign this guy. I want to make sure what I'm going to say next is correct. And congratulations for losing 60 pounds, okay? I should lose 60 pounds. Where's the news? I want to say, let me read this article here. I don't want to spend all this time on Miguel Sano. Let's just say, I'm going to leave it at the fact that he had some serious legal issues, I believe. Let me look here quickly. He won the Rookie of the Month award in 2015. I know he was an all-star, but he never hit much other than home runs, which I guess is all you need to do today. All right, I'm going to leave it. Maybe he didn't do something atrocious in his private life, but I think he did have some issues. If I'm wrong, I apologize. If I'm right, then, you can do whatever you want. Just don't let the year out of footballs. Yankees should have focused on signing some pitching. I think pitching is the team's weakness. There's a lot of weaknesses here. Yankee fans always want to overlook them, right? I get beat up by other Yankee fans because I'm so hard on the Yankees. But I try to be realistic. I don't look at things with rose-colored glasses. I'm not going to do a podcast and talk to you guys and say my favorite team is going to go 162-0 and win the World Series. When there's warts, I'll tell you. And this team had a lot of problems. The starting pitching wasn't deep, and there was question marks. Accident injury keeps calling me. I hope that's like 4 days. I hope it isn't somebody I know. Oh, Jesus. Sorry about that. The bullpen is short. I don't like Clay Holmes in that closer position. Loaizaga, who I love him. He can do pretty much anything. Start, long relief, short relief, but he's hurt all the time. The team still is not fundamentally sound. I keep having arguments with people about this all the time. I had it on a debate show, which I'll probably I don't think we'll get into this tomorrow. I hope not. But the team is not fundamentally sound. If they don't hit home runs, they don't score runs. We pick up a slugger in Soto, great player. Bad defensively, not a good base runner, doesn't hustle half the time. But that's most of the league. They can't run the bases. And nobody can run the bases. I shouldn't say anybody, nobody. Half the team can't run the bases. They're old in bad spots, third base. You know what they labor Tories because they haven't signed them. Rizzo's one of the keys to this team as far as offensively protecting Judge and protecting Soto and being the key to that infield defense. But if Judge is going to miss time, he's already going to miss opening day, and who knows how much more time than that. And playing center field every day, bad idea, man. Bringing Verdugo in here when you could have brought Cody Bellinger in for a decent bargain, or the kid from the Kim kid from from Korea that the Giants signed. All would have allowed Judge to stay in right field. But no, now we got Judge playing center field every day, beating up with that big body more. Soto, a defensive liability in right field, and Verdugo, who's not exactly, trying to think of a great fielding outfielder. Paul Blair, but he was a center fielder. In left field. And I'm not convinced with all the stories. Again, all the great stories about Stanton. All the great stories about Stanton and his new found work ethic and God. Oh, Drew's correct here. Pitching is, and it is. By the way, there's too many teams. We're not going the contraction route. That was discussed back in the early 2000s. And maybe they should have. But stop talking about expansion again, Rob Manfred, because you can't. There's not enough pitching to go around now. Now, maybe there would be if you'd actually train pitchers to pitch. Stop babying them. What do I think about Wycano? Asking for a friend. I don't know if my opinion. I don't know if I have that strong an opinion either way. I mean, what's his situation right now, health wise, anyway? Oops, I don't want to do that. Hold on. Get some recent news here. I just don't, I'm having a hard time getting my head around. I know this, it's a very good baseball team, right? So if you have him on your team, Drew, or what's your name? Rick? Drew picked him for you for a reason. I can't get my depth chart up here. Well, I guess the Orioles are not in Major League Baseball this year because I've lost my depth charts on them. Gosh, come on. Help me out here. Would you please give me a break for a change? He deserves a break, doesn't he? All right, Yainer Cano. 30 years old, by the way. I didn't realize he was that old. 6'4", big guy from Cuba. Pitched lights out last year. He's going to be the closer there for the considerable, at least for now. I like the guy. I love the team. I love the Orioles. Not a fan. I don't say that as a fan. As a base or, following the team type of fan. Being a baseball fan, I like this team a lot. And I think it might be the best team in the East. Despite last year's number, Cano is a setup guy for Kim. And that's ridiculous, right? I still think, and that's why I said I think he might be the closer for now. I don't think Kimbrel's going to last, 3 weeks. And these relievers are so mercurial, right? I mean, Kimbrel's a perfect example. Who's had a more of a roller coaster career than this guy? Cano would move up to close. I was going to say kid earlier, and it's funny. You see these guys, and you feel like they're kids, but he's 30 years old, late bloomer. Great stuff. So I think your friend, true. You want to dump him? Call me up. Because I would like Cano on my roster. I can tell you right now. I've had 2 baseball drafts so far that I'm not terribly happy with. Got one tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night, Sunday night, which is worth considerably more money than the others. Not that I take them all very seriously until I got to play for 7th place. No offense, Drew. But I do my due diligence. And I haven't felt good about any of my drafts. Well, you know what? I shouldn't say that. I don't have a good feel about any of my drafts. I don't know whether I've done good or whether I've done bad. I took some real reaches in both of them, I think. If they pan out, they'll be great. But if they don't, I'm liable to finish last in both of them. Oh, I'm sorry here. Chris, who's points to make comeback player of the year? Jason Hayward. What's the last good year Jason Hayward had? Trey Mancini. I think Trey Mancini's best days are behind him. I guess, and Abreu's none of these guys are, I don't see any of these guys making a comeback player of the year, to be honest with you. Of the list you gave me, I'm going to say Abreu's got the best shot because I think, well, Hayward's going to get significant playing time, right? But not as much. I think Abreu might get the most of the playing time of all of them. He plays in a great ballpark for hitters. My guess is it won't be any of these guys. I'll give you a guy, and the guy had really good numbers. Mike Trout. All Mike Trout's got to do is play the entire year, and he's a comeback player of the year. And he's not playing under any pressure because the Angels stink. All you know is they're trying to send. So no, if I'm saying his name right, Drew, I have no idea. 32 Pooh. Cano, I'm telling you, I will trade for him right now. Because 68%, if you're saying, so I think you're still talking about Cano, Rick, and I don't, I certainly don't want to get into spending full hours talking about fantasy baseball. Although, if somebody wants to start a fantasy baseball show and have it on TGI Sports Talk, I'll be happy to facilitate that for them. And I'll even set them up with a platform to use. Possibly. It has to be the right person. I'm not saying anybody. But, I like fantasy baseball. One thing I don't like is talking a lot about fantasy baseball. But I will tell you this. If we're still talking about Cano, and I'd like to know one thing. I can look it up right now. Is he on 32% of the rosters or is he in 32% of the starting rosters? And second of all, if that's a deterrent to you to wanting to keep him, let's talk, because I got a couple of fresh bodies. I'll be happy to move for him. The Baltimore Orioles might be the best team in the American League. Don't disagree, Dave. They had a great year last year. Surprising some. They caught us by surprise the year before, but they couldn't sneak up on teams last year. Hyde is a really good manager. I had him on the firing blocks 2 years ago, but they've done a great job of making great use of their farm system, which is still producing tremendous results, and bringing in the right type of veterans. Although I'm a little surprised at the Kimbrel move. I don't understand that. That's not a move that I would have thought this team would make. I understand you don't want to trust Cano maybe with the job, but he'll have that job eventually. Vinny Pasquantino. I am with Drew though, Chris. Listen, a guy like Mike Trout could win, even though he didn't have bad numbers last year. Let me just look through some of the. I want to give you a guy. It's going to be hard for me to do real quick. Certainly something we will do. One of the things we usually do is pick a comeback player of the year, and along with the other award winners when we do the preview show. So I got to write this one down for Drew so he doesn't back off it. How about, I'm looking at the teams and maybe some. If the news, if everybody who I keep hearing says the Braves did such a great job getting Chris Sale, well, then Chris Sale ought to be a contender. Sterling Marte could be a contender for the Mets. If the Mets are going to do anything, he better be. There's several candidates on the Guardians. Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is a candidate for comeback player of the year. Usually it's a guy who was hurt the year before and comes back, though. So I got to look into this a little bit deeper. It would be fun, Chris, if it was Joey Votto up there in Toronto, which I don't think it's going to be. Can't look at percentage of rosters because our league has different point standards. No, I do think it's something I look at sometimes before I consider dropping guys or picking them up. I'll look at, and again, yes, there's different configurations for different leads, but that's the overall, in this case, Yahoo. I don't know why I'm talking fantasy baseball so much when I said I didn't want to, right? And also, Drew, don't talk Rick out of talking trade with me. I will stand by what I'm saying. That I said this before the season. I do think that the Orioles find ways to plug holes right now. In the last year and a half, they have found ways to plug holes where they have injuries or they have lack of depth, and done a great job of next man up. Better than the Yankees have done. Better than the Blue Jays have done. But to me, and people always get on me for this, the best team in the American League is still the Houston Astros in my mind. What do you got, Chris? We'll certainly go back and forth about this on the 26th and leading up until that. We might see Jared Beck with the Orioles this year, the first 7-foot tall major league pitcher. What Chris Young hit? 6'10". I think Chris Young was about 6'10". That'd be a sight to see, won't it? How about Dylan Cease going to the talk? And again, this is a place the Yankees should have been looking in the offseason. And I know they were kicking the tires, and the White Sox wanted too much for Dylan Cease. And I think they thought they might have a shot at him at the trade deadline. Now they aren't going to have a shot at him at all, because unless the Padres really stink it up, probably worse than last year, he's not going anywhere. So I'm guessing I got to go somewhere else for my depth charts, because what do you call it's down here? That's not good. I like to listen right now. I think with a new manager and some new blood, and I love Michael King. I think Michael King's going to have a big year out of that in San Diego in that rotation. Not a lot of pressure on him. Cease takes more pressure off him. He's got Musgrave and Darvish in front of him still. I think he'll outpitch those two guys. He may not outpitch Cease. And Cease going to, and again, I know there's interleague play and whatnot, but I think him going to a new division and a new, still keeping track of work a little bit. And going to a new division, new league. Dylan Cease, I think, will bounce back this year with a really, really good year. I don't want NFL depth charts. Why is it every time I want to do something, somebody's got an issue? Can't use them. Let's use this one for now. See, I just want the team. That's all. How about the San Diego? Have the Padres got the best rotation in baseball right now? I mean, I think they do. Tell me if I'm wrong. Cease leading away. Musgrove, Darvish, King. Whoever's going to bring up the rear here. Hold on. Who's going to bring up the rear for this team? Oh, San Diego. Musgrove, Cease. Funny, they still list Musgrove as number one. I mean, Cease is my number one starter. Oh, Brito probably be the number 5 starter. At least he's competing for the job. That job will probably change hands a few times. You want to talk about top 4 guys? Is there a better 4 guys right now than that? I mean, if the Arizona, maybe if Eduardo Rodriguez pitches like he did last year, and the kid, well, I'll never say his name, Drew, Fat. I don't know what his name is. They're really good at the top with Kelly and Zach Gallen. Again, I'm not going to give it to the Braves this year because Sale's the 3rd starter. Cincinnati, no. Colorado, no. Dodgers, I don't know that Yamamoto's that good. And And obviously, Ohtani's not pitching. Bueller's question mark with his health. They got James Paxton right now listed as their fifth starter. That's not a good sign for the Dodgers. Miami, of course, is going to come up in conversation. But after Luzardo and Perez, I mean, those kids got to show me something. Mets, no. Phillies, Phillies, not bad. Pittsburgh's going to be better than you think, pitching-wise, potentially. Potentially. I take that back. I like two of their starters, Luis Ortiz and Mitch Keller. San Francisco, no. St. Louis, no. Washington, of course, no. Toronto, again, they've got the capability of being one of the best in baseball, but you got to get like Jose Barrios, his best years are behind him. Texas will come up. Any team that's got Andrew Haney listed as their third or even their fourth starter, no. Maybe come midseason when everybody's healthy. No. Rays, no. Seattle's got a really good rotation. I love the first three guys. And even Bryce Miller I like a bit. Oakland, of course, no. Yankees, how can the Yankees – you're really going to tell me that the Yankees with Carlos Rendon listed as number one starter, Marcus Stroman, who won't pitch opening day, Nestor Cortez is an injury concern as well. Clark Schmidt, who I love, and I think he's got great potential, is the fourth starter. Just the fact that I got Corbin Burns to anchor my staff in Baltimore makes me better. In my mind, yes, a lot of injury issues there, but there's injury issues everywhere. So again, San Diego's got an argument as the best rotation in baseball. Thoughts on any of Ricky's stolen base records being reached with these crazy new augmentations in base stealing? No, not until the way the game is played. Obviously, stolen bases jumped last year, and again, by the way, the crazy new augmentations is being kind. To me, it's the bastardization of baseball in general. 90 feet between bases was only the norm for, 130 years. But that's not good enough for the likes of Rod Manfred. Let's do this. Let's make the bases bigger, which, by the way, shortens the baselines. I don't give a – and don't tell me, well, it's only an inch, 2 inches, whatever it is. You don't think that matters? Look at all the bang-bang plays in Major League Baseball. The fact that you can't throw over to first base more than twice, so once you're thrown once, you got a green light. Well, pretty much. I mean, if you throw twice, obviously there's a stolen base guaranteed. I could steal second base if you can only throw over twice. That might be an exaggeration, but one of the most ridiculous rules they put in. With that said, and with stolen bases certainly jumping last year, I don't see the game being played in a way, at least for a while, Chris, where we're going to be running amok like Ricky did and Lou Brock did in certain years. So could it happen? Sure, but it's going to be a while. It's got to be somebody's got to get on base a lot. It can't be these guys. Again, home runs, walks, and strikeouts. As long as that is the three true outcomes, and that's all we care about in baseball, then no, Ricky's records won't be reached, regardless of these crazy new augmentations. Canadians are too nice, Chris. Adam Duvall signing with the Braves. Good call there. That just happened yesterday, I believe. Rays welcome back Jake, or we can never say that guy's name either. Odorizzi. Adam Duvall had a really good year 2 years ago. Arguably the reason the Braves won the World Series, or as big a reason as any, was the acquisition of Adam Duvall and George Soler. They both had great years. Who else got hurt this week? Didn't somebody else get hurt? Quick rest in peace to Jim McAndrew, and our condolences to his friends and family. Jim McAndrew pitched with the Mets from 68 to 73, pitched on that Miracle Met team. He was a good pitcher, by the way. Had some arm issues. Man, him and Gary Gentry, they could have been as good or close to. He wouldn't be as good as Seaver, but they could have been as good as Koosman and Ryan with a few breaks their way. I remember those guys. Dies at 80 years old, Jim McAndrew. Just saw that just now. So I wanted to give out a quick rest in peace and our condolences to the family and friends. Yes. What else? So, yes, he signs. So what else? Carlos Marmol gets a 2-year extension with St. Louis. Very interesting there. One of the guys I would think would be on the hot seat if we start 2024 season gets himself a 2-year extension before the season starts. Could be interesting. Jays catcher Danny Jansen is out a few weeks with a wrist fracture. How do you fracture your wrist and you're out 2 weeks? But you strain a quad and you're out for 3 months sometimes. Baseball injuries have just got confounding to me. Many other teams have potential to be better than San Diego. Dodgers, again, potential is the key here. I said the Dodgers, but to me, you got a lot of we don't know what Yamamoto is going to do. He's probably going to be very good, but there have been Japanese pitchers that have come over here before that have not been very good. We know Glasnow is going to be good. We don't know what to expect out of Walker Buehler yet, and I love Walker Buehler. We don't know what Kershaw's got left. Again, James Paxton is the fifth starter there. Oh, what else you mentioned here? Astros. I do like the Astros staff. Twins, Guardians, Mariners. I like the Mariners staff a lot. Guardians, I think, still have some ways to go. Got some youngsters and some veterans. I like the Mariners. I did mention the Mariners. Their first three are really good. Really, really good. Drew's all over this stuff, guys, and you're going to get Drew's expert opinion and my often contrary outlook on the 26th of March at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll do our Major League Baseball preview show, which we're going to do it live and incorporate comments. So I'm going to have to, if I don't put every comment up, don't get nervous, but we can't have a 10-hour show. So, but we'll have some fun with that. I had a funny line. Oh, and I'm going to make Jerome, I'm going to put it in his contract. He can't mention war even once. If I do, I'm going to suspend him without pay, and that'll be that. Let's not get carried away. You might lose to me in a race. All right, Rick, if you ever show up, here's what we're going to do. I told Drew Saturday, once we get into baseball season here, we gotta schedule a local happy hour. We'll do it on a Friday, probably like we did before. Probably up here in the Clifton Park area. Really no further, I don't think, for you guys from Amsterdam and whatnot than it was in Albany. Hopefully not. And we'll think of someplace good to do it. And we'll have a race. I'll leave it up to you, Rick. The distance really shouldn't be more than, I don't think, 10 yards. And we can do it before or after drinking. That'll be your call. JB, back it up binge podcast. Check out JB stuff. Does some really good stuff. Chat, less than 2 to 162. It is less than 2 weeks, right? Where are we? Actually, We got some games in a few days. When are the Koreans? When's the Korean? I hate these March 20th games, by the way. I mean, don't we have real games like on the 20th? I hate it. We're playing real games and exhibition games all at the same time. I don't know. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Wednesday the 20th, Thursday the 21st is the Korean matchup, I think. Drew can correct me there. What do we got here? You guys are doing good today. I love my audiences. They are so knowledgeable. They're so fun to have poke fun at and have them poke fun at me. I think we have some fun with that. And they contribute so much to the shows that a lot of people say, wouldn't you rather have a co-host? And I enjoy doing this show and you guys be my co-host. That's what I love doing. This show, especially in the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, is certain of that. The anniversary of the day Ron Gant got fired, largest single season contract at $5.5 million. Ronnie broke his leg in 2 spots from a dirt bike accident. Brilliant. Who was he with then? The Cardinals? Not even sure who he was with at that point. These guys, they do some stupid stuff, don't they? Have to go with the Braves, Dave Guyette. What did Dave ask? I missed something. Oh, I missed this. Who do you think is the best team in baseball? I'm kind of with Drew. I do think the pitching staff's a bit overrated. But I think, and I've said this last year, so this isn't a change for me. When you look at this team, when you look for a complete team, starting pitching, bullpen, hitting, base running, fielding, defense, why is this Friday afternoon so busy at work? I have no idea. What's going on? People buzzing me. We got 13 minutes left, so they can wait. No offense if you're watching. I think the Braves are the best team in baseball. Most complete team in baseball. Dodgers, everybody's in love with the Dodgers. I'm not. I'm not sold on the pitching, that they have enough pitching. I mean, we talked about Baltimore and the Yankees pitching. Take a look at the Dodgers pitching. I'd be a little concerned. Glasnow's been an injury risk in his life. We don't know anything about Yamamoto, at least pitching in American baseball. And you got a lot of question marks. Maybe San Diego finally steps up and realizes their potential. But I think there's going to be some good races in baseball this year. I really do. So I'm sorry I missed that one, Dave, but thanks for bailing me out, Drew. Correct that in Korean games. What, why? And to me, it's not fair to the teams. So the rest of the teams have what? Another 10 days-ish to prepare for the regular season. I've got to drop everything. I've got a shorter spring training than everybody else. I've got to fly halfway around the world and then come back and play more preseason games. Makes no sense. Braves has certainly established a formula. They have. I'm a little concerned about their starting pitching. Love Strider. Fried had some injury issues last year. I like him, but he had some injury issues last year. Chris Sale, I'm not sold on being all the way back. And again, you talk about a comeback player. If the Braves are what he thinks, if Sale is what the Braves think he will be, he might be the comeback player of the year. But I'm not sold. Charlie Morton just keeps getting older and older. The bullpen's good. I think the bullpen's really good myself. And the offense is probably the best in the National League. So they do have a great formula. The beauty of baseball is everything's on paper until it isn't, right? It's a good point. Unless you're playing Stratomatic, then it's always on paper. Everything is on paper until it isn't. Injuries, slumps, rookies who were never ranked, just too many variables over 162 games. And Drew, that's a tremendous point. There'll be at least 5 guys or more, probably, that we haven't even mentioned or even thought about. Although Drew does some comprehensive research when we do the preview. You might hear some names. Actually, Drew's hit on a couple of really good names in our preview shows in past years that we wouldn't normally think about. Now, he's missed a couple as well. I don't get too as big in the prognostication of minor league players because, again, the very things that we're talking about here. Well, Drew did a good job last year. Drew was way ahead of me on the on the Reds. We're both on the same page with the Diamondbacks. But I do know sometimes we bring up guys, here's some names to watch, and then they just kind of fade away. But Drew does a really good job. He really does. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow with a lunch out to celebrate my mother-in-law's birthday late, and we weren't able to. Drew and his wife did get to celebrate it, but my wife was very sick that weekend, and so we had some people that were coming into town that did not, and we put everything off. So everybody's coming in this weekend, and including my father and stepmom will come down, and we'll have a little celebration for her birthday tomorrow. And I don't remember where we're going. I have to check with my social secretary. We got about 8 minutes left. The Dodgers are the baseball version of the Cowboys. Tons of talent, lacking heart to the finish. I'll tell you this much. And I don't know if that's a fair comparison. That's I know this. It's kind of that Mark Mancini attitude. They did win a World Series in 2020. I understand it was 60 games and we want to give it an asterisk and whatnot. They won 100 games last year, and I understand the playoffs they folded up, but no team, I'm not saying no team had the injuries, didn't have the injuries, same injury issues. No team overcame serious and consistent injury issues as this team did last year. And Dave Roberts did the best job managing in baseball last year. Lost his entire starting rotation at one point or another during the course of the year. Lost his opening day shortstop before opening day. I do think they're rolling the dice a little bit with Mookie Betts at shortstop. He showed he could handle second base enough. I understand they don't like Lux as much over there, but Mookie Betts having to play shortstop every day for 162 games is just not a good idea. I understand, he'll be the best offensive shortstop in baseball, but defense still matters. Plus, again, it's a more demanding position than playing second base or playing the outfield. Chris, she's got the oldest boys in baseball. Rich Hill, who graduated a couple years behind me in high school. Jesse Chavez, is that the Chavez who's playing? And Votto, by the way, is not on a team yet. So I would expect Rich Hill and Chavez to be on teams, rosters. I'm not convinced Joey Votto is going to make a team. I know he's signed a minor league contract. I'm assuming he's in camp with the Blue Jays, but I'm just not sure. Is Jesse Chavez the guy who's pitched for like every team in Major League Baseball? I know it's. I'm going to get myself in trouble. It's a bit like Smith and Jones, Chavez, so I'm just curious. Anything can happen in a short series. None of the 100-game winners made it far. Very good point. And again, do you think that that's a reason for? To me, it's a reason. It's a reason to shrink back the number of participants in postseason, because. And again, I I'm probably not going to say this the right way. To me, part of baseball and the what I love about baseball is that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And you've got to play 162 games. You've got to play well over 162 games. When you take in as many teams as we are now in Major League Baseball, you weaken the. You can get off to bad starts and recover and make it in the third wild card. I don't know, how many do we even have now? 4. How many teams are getting in? 14? I'm sure Rob Manfred wants to expand it, by the way. If it was me, I'd turn back a clock. I'd go back to 2 divisions. I was a kid, and I remember the uproar when we went to 2 divisions in each league. The integrity of the regular season has been compromised. And teams, yeah, I get it. They got beat by a team that was better, as Drew says, in a short series, and anything can happen. It doesn't mean the better team wins. Better team wins out over 100 games. But I digress because we're not going backwards, right? I'd like to roll the clock back 30 years to 2 divisions in each league and be happy. But I do remember Jamie Moyer at 50 getting signed by the Blue Jays on a minor league deal. Jamie Myers pitched until he was in his late 40s, if I'm not mistaken. He might have pitched when he was 49. And Jamie Moyer, yeah, he was left-handed. I always tell people, if you have a boy and you want him to be a Major League Baseball player, make him left-handed. Do whatever you have to do. Tie that right arm down so he can't use it. Make him left-handed because you don't have to be any good. And Jamie Moyer was a serviceable Major League pitcher. Don't get me wrong. Had some good years. But as a rule, you don't have to be any good, and you can pitch forever as a lefty in the Major Leagues. Rich Hill hasn't signed with anyone? I could have swore Rich Hill was with the Blue Jays, actually. I don't know why. Rich Hill signed somewhere because he's left-handed, and he can reach home plate. Yankees, please don't sign. Please don't sign Rich Hill. Votto has 1 Major League contract. He's not going to I don't think he'll make it. Is Chavez, but is that the Chavez? And I got to get ready to sign off here, but is that Chavez, is it the Chavez that pitched like for 20 teams? Anyway, what else did I miss today? We got to get ready to wrap it up. Let me see what else we missed. I just love going back and chit-chatting back and forth. This is a fun hour for me. We'll get Drew in here before the regular season starts, not only just on the Major League Baseball preview, which will be at, as I said, March 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern, but we'll get him on here on a Friday here soon, too. By the way, another big injury that we have not chatted about was Devin Williams expected to miss around 3 months with a back injury for the Brewers. Big injury there. We talked about some other injuries. Giolito out for the season for the Red Sox. So some big injuries already in baseball, and we'll talk more about that, obviously, as we go along. And one last thought. We've mentioned Jim McAndrew, and our thoughts and prayers are with his family, but we also wish a speedy recovery to Darryl Strawberry, former Met and Yankee great, who suffered a heart attack this week, and he's recovering. I believe he's out of the hospital now and home recovering, I hope. What else we got here? Drew, great show. Thanks again for doing this. Love to have fun with it. I'm glad you have fun with it. I enjoy it. Wheat Fields, thank you. Good. At least I know where to go now. I just asked my wife, what direction now? So thanks again, Drew. You guys helped make it that. Miguel Andujar, the dark horse, no one giving him a hard time in Oakland. We talked about this last week, and I'm no bigger Miguel Andujar fan than me. I think the Yankees did him wrong. So anyway, guys, been a great hour. Went fast as always. We'll see you this weekend with the Sunday Stream of Consciousness. We'll see you on the 26th with the baseball preview, and we'll be right back here next Friday with the MLB update. Have a great time. See you guys. Bye-bye.